Every time you open ChatGPT, run an AI search, or ask a virtual assistant a question, a small number of companies collect a toll. You do not see the meter running, but it runs. We followed the money from the chip inside the data center to the cloud provider renting it out to the AI company charging you a subscription, all the way to the utility bill that just showed up in your mailbox. Here is the receipt. Start with the foundation because nothing runs without it. Every major AI model in the world, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Llama, Grok, is trained and served on specialized chips called graphics processing units. And one company makes the GPU everyone actually uses, Nvidia. Nvidia currently holds approximately 85% of the AI accelerator market by revenue. For the specific job of training a model, the most expensive part of building AI, Nvidia's share exceeds 90%. The company is, for now, the only toll booth on the road. Here is what that looks like in dollar terms. Nvidia's data center segment exceeded $100 billion in fiscal year 2025. That is more revenue from data center hardware alone than most countries spend on their entire defense budgets. Now look at the margin. The Blackwell B200, Nvidia's current flagship chip, costs between $5,700 and $7,300 to manufacture. It sells for $30,000 to $40,000 per chip. That implies a chip-level gross margin of approximately 82%. For every dollar of chip revenue, Nvidia keeps roughly 75 cents before any other expenses. The gold rush metaphor gets used a lot in tech. The actual history of the California gold rush is that the people who sold picks and shovels made more reliable money than the people mining for gold. Nvidia is the picks and shovels company. Here is the caveat. AMD is gaining ground on inference. Google, Amazon, and Microsoft are each designing their own custom AI chips. Nvidia's dominance is not guaranteed. Analysts project its market share settling near 75% as the total market grows past $200 billion. 75% is still a chokehold. The chips have to live somewhere. They live in data centers, and the data centers are owned almost entirely by four companies: Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Meta. They are called hyperscalers, and right now they are in the middle of the largest infrastructure build-out in corporate history. In 2025, those four companies spent a combined $290 to $300 billion on capital expenditures: data centers, chips, power infrastructure, fiber. In 2026, they plan to spend between $650 billion and $725 billion, nearly double in a single year. To put it in perspective, the Apollo program that sent humans to the moon cost about $250 billion in today's money. These four companies are spending nearly 3 times that amount on AI infrastructure in a single calendar year. Why would any company spend that much money? Because they are building the toll booth. Every AI startup, every corporation, every developer that wants to build anything with AI has to rent compute from one of 3 cloud providers: Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud. The infrastructure investment is the moat, and the tolls are profitable. Amazon Web Services generated $30.9 billion in net sales in just the second quarter of 2025. Operating income that quarter, $10.2 billion. AWS is one of the most profitable business units in the history of American enterprise. Microsoft Azure grew 33% year over year in the third quarter of fiscal 2025, with AI contributing 16 percentage points of that growth. Microsoft is targeting $25 billion in AI-related cloud revenue by end of fiscal 2026. Google Cloud hit $20 billion in revenue in the first quarter of 2025, growing 63% year over year, faster than either of its larger rivals that quarter. The caveat matters here. Analysts warn that big tech free cash flow could drop as much as 90% in 2026 because the capital spending is outpacing the revenue it is generating right now. These companies are making a massive multi-year bet. The bet is probably right, but the returns are not here yet. The spending is. Now, the part that surprises most people: the companies whose names are on the AI products you actually use, OpenAI, Anthropic, xAI, are not profitable. Not close. They are burning billions of dollars a year while generating billions in revenue at the same time. OpenAI made $13.07 billion in revenue in 2025. That was a 253% increase from the year before. Impressive by any measure. The problem is that OpenAI spent $34 billion to generate that revenue. Operating loss, $20.9 billion. The company projects a $14 billion loss in 2026, even as its annualized revenue climbs past $25 billion. There is a detail inside those numbers that tells a different story about who is actually benefiting. Of OpenAI's $34 billion in 2025 costs, $10.59 billion went to Microsoft for compute. Microsoft is OpenAI's largest investor and primary cloud provider. So every time OpenAI loses a dollar, a significant portion of that loss becomes Microsoft revenue. The investor is the landlord. OpenAI's own internal projections put cash flow positive at 2030 at the earliest. Between now and then, the company needs tens of billions more in outside funding to survive. It raised $122 billion in a single quarter in early 2026. Anthropic, the company behind Claude, is a similar story. Annualized revenue crossed $30 billion in April 2026 and $47 billion in May, 80-fold growth in roughly 18 months. In June 2026, Anthropic filed for an IPO at a nearly $1 trillion valuation after closing a $65 billion funding round. Revenue is real. Profitability is a future promise. The companies that are profitable from AI right now are the ones selling infrastructure, not intelligence. Nvidia, profitable. AWS, profitable. Azure, profitable. Google Cloud, profitable. The model makers are not. They are spending investor capital at scale, betting that the intelligence layer will eventually become defensible and margin generating. That may happen. In 2025 and 2026, the money flows upstream, not downstream. Now the part you probably did not know was connected, your electricity bill. AI models do not run on good intentions. They run on electricity in enormous quantities inside data centers that are being built at a pace the U.S. power grid was not designed to handle. U.S. data centers consumed 183 terawatt hours of electricity in 2024, more than 4% of the entire country's electricity use. That figure is projected to grow 133% by 2030 as data center demand nearly doubles by 2028. In the PJM electricity market, that is the grid covering Illinois through North Carolina, roughly 85 million Americans, data centers drove a $9.3 billion increase in the 2025 to 2026 capacity market. The average residential bill rose $18 a month in Western Maryland and $16 a month in Ohio. In Virginia, which hosts the world's largest concentration of data centers, regulators just approved a Dominion energy rate increase that adds $16 a month to the typical residential customer's bill in 2026. Carnegie Mellon University projects an 8% average U.S. electricity bill increase by 2030 from data center and cryptocurrency demand. In the highest demand markets, Northern Virginia, that projection rises to 25%. A November 2025 Consumer Reports survey of 2,146 American adults found that 78% are somewhat or very concerned that data centers will make their energy bills go up. That concern is not hypothetical. In the states where the data centers are, it is already happening. The caveat, a Reason Foundation analysis argues the direct per kilowatt-hour impact is modest in most markets outside the dense data center corridors. Utilities also argue the infrastructure they are building benefits the whole grid, not just the tech companies. The worst-case figures apply to specific regions, not every zip code equally. Here's the receipt. Nvidia controls 85% of the AI chip market and earns an 82% margin at the chip level. The four hyperscalers are spending $650 to $725 billion in 2026 to build the infrastructure every AI product depends on. OpenAI made $13 billion in revenue and lost $21 billion operating it. $10.59 billion of those costs went to Microsoft. Anthropic is growing at 80-fold in 18 months and filing for an IPO near $1 trillion valuation while still burning cash. Your electricity bill is going up in the regions where the data centers are. In Virginia, it already did. In the PJM region, analysts project it could hit $70 a month higher by 2028. The profit in AI right now is in the shovels and the land, not yet in the gold. We will keep pulling the receipts, the numbers behind the noise. So what do you actually do with all of this? 4 moves straight from the data. 1. Treat your electricity bill as part of the real cost of AI. Utilities are not hiding the data center connection. They are filing rate cases citing it explicitly. When the bill goes up, you now know part of the reason why. Ask your utility company what percentage of its rate increases it has attributed to data center load. 2. When you hear that an AI company is valued at hundreds of billions of dollars, ask whether that valuation reflects current profit or projected future profit. For the major model makers, it is almost entirely the latter right now. Valuation and profitability are 2 different numbers. They rhyme, but they are not the same. 3. The companies actually earning money from AI today are different from the companies marketing AI to you. Nvidia, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud are the pick sellers. OpenAI, Anthropic, and most AI startups are the miners. One layer is printing profit. The other layer is spending capital. 4. If you are an investor or thinking about becoming one, the AI trade that has already printed money is infrastructure, not the product layer. Nvidia's stock reflected this long before most consumers understood the chip story. That may change as model makers mature. It has not changed yet. Want the full receipt? Every number, every source. It is on our Substack, and the link is on our channel. If the data matters to you, subscribe. We will have the next receipt ready.